Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
It's that time again. It's time for us to do our weekly reading wrap-up, or what we like to call our 1-minute book recs, where we go over all the books we read this week with 1-minute synopsises of each book. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are still doing our Road to 1K giveaway. So Mandy, tell them what that entails.
Okay, so when we get to 500, we're giving away this cinch sack and this book, Twisted Love, with lots of swag inside the cinch sack.
Yes. So make sure you hit subscribe and don't forget to follow us on Instagram because you will get an extra entry for that as well.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about your reading week. I know it was really emotional and hard for both of us. I was gone for 4 days. We both got into the same book with it. I was gone. We both got into the same book that was extremely emotional. And it was to the point where I had no cell service where we were camping. So I made my husband drive into town so Mandy and I could talk about this book. 2 days in a row.
This book, whoo, it was a trilogy and
yeah.
So definitely we'll talk about that. A favorite.
Yes. And we'll talk about those first and then get those out of the way together. Okay. And then we can go into the other ones. But so we had that. So other than that, how was your reading week?
I didn't get a lot read. I've been busy.
And I was camping.
Yeah, so you probably have a ton of books. So I have a total of 5, which include the 2 from the trilogy. So
that's I have next week. 11, which include the 2 from the trilogy.
Okay.
But I was camping and it rained. What else was there to do?
Okay, so we'll start with you and then we'll go back and forth and then you'll just finish us out.
Well, yeah, let's actually start with us talking about the books that we read together. And then we'll go into that.
So you're going to steal the 2 out of my 5 books?
No, you can talk about them.
No, it's fine. No.
Well,
we can't really talk about it because the 2 books that we read are the book 2 and 3 in the trilogy.
Yeah, so we can talk for a sec. We can give the gist like we did last week.
Okay. So we're talking about 9 Minutes by Beth Flynn. Don't judge a book by a cover. Totally applies to this trilogy.
Yeah. The book covers so need to be redone.
Yeah. Badly. So this was a 5-star on my favorites read.
Me too.
For the trilogy. It's so good. And what I loved is, so we were sending each other Marco Polos, which you couldn't get mine because you didn't have service, and I couldn't get yours because yours couldn't upload because you didn't have service. But what was funny is a lot of the same things that I was like, oh my gosh, Jessica, do you think this is happening? And you were saying like the exact same things. And then we were also, because there's so much that happens in this series, so much that you don't know if something is just like a little happens, tidbit of information, or if it's to throw you off of something else, or if it's actually what it feels like. And so it was so funny because we're like, do you think, like both of us, do you think this is happening? Or do you think that was just to throw us off and this is actually what's going to happen? Like you can't really make solid predictions while you're reading this.
No. So no, and I kept saying to you, this is what we as readers look for. Yes. When you're looking for a book, this is what you're looking for. Something that just sucks you in and you get so involved in the book. Nothing else matters. Like you're all about their lives, the lives of these characters. Like this is what I call an epic story. This is an epic romance. This is something that we look for all the time and you only find maybe a couple times a year, maybe, but it consumes you when you're reading it. I was so mad though, because the second book didn't download properly to my Kindle. And I made my husband drive into town so that I could get on the Wi-Fi at the little local grocery store so I could download the book because I was that bad. I mean, there was times too, I told you, Mandy, where like things would happen, something big happens at the end of the second book, and I was like bent over cooking dinner, bracing myself on my knees, going, oh, my husband's looking at me like, what is wrong with you? But I couldn't call Mandy.
Yeah. So good. So I actually wrote in my notes that it had me literally on the edge of my seat where I'm like, oh my gosh, because you just don't know what is going to happen. And the prologue itself is soul crushing.
Yes. And it's so much more than what you think it is. Like you think this book is going to be one thing and it turns out to be something completely different. And even in the third book, we were still getting revelations about things that happened in the first book that changed everything. and the way you saw it, your perspective. So yeah. Epic.
So this is MC. It's dark. It's like captor captive. It's about Grizz and Jenny. Jenny gets kidnapped when she's 15 and brought to live at the biker compound, and Grizz is the president. And almost through most of the series, we don't actually know how old he is, so I'm not going to give that away, but you can guesstimate that there's some sort of an age gap here. And he decides to keep her. And really, that is all that can be said about this story, because if you say anything else, you're potentially giving away spoilers. And you had made a short, and somebody was questioning like triggers. So if you think you might have triggers, go check those. But telling you what any of the triggers could be, I feel as the reader would be a spoiler for this, because you don't know what's going to happen. And so if you know certain things are triggers, I feel like that gives this away. But if you feel like you might have triggers, go check those. Otherwise, going in blind with like the little information that we had, and please ignore that cover. Just
please,
go
please. Yeah, and I do think, I think it's safe to say that the spice scale is fairly low on this one. It does get a little spicier to go, but we don't get extreme open door scenes. And I don't know like that really mattered. It didn't matter to me at all in this book.
It didn't matter to me at all either.
And things that, like I said, things that happen, and then you find out later why, it just changes your whole outlook on it. So we can't give spoilers because things you think one way or not.
I feel like detailed spicy scenes would have taken away from the flow of the book, because that book is going like this. And I think if you would have had that lull, I would have been like, no, I need to just get like what's going to happen.
So I listened to the audio. There is audio for it. I listened to the audio. You read it. So both were great. The audio was fine. The whoever the narrator was, she did a great job. God, it was just so good. It's what I would call epic. It was an epic story. So definitely. Yeah. And just remember, the authors always have trigger warnings on their websites for their books. If you can't find them, message the author. They'll respond.
And when you finish, make sure you read the author's note in the third book. Gives you a little more insight. Yeah.
I definitely want to continue on with the next series because there's a spinoff.
I need a break. I can't I
can't do it right now. Nope. I need a break. Too much. So anyhow, okay. So now let's get into the rest of the books we read this week.
Okay. Are you ready, Jessica?
I am. I'm ready.
Okay.
So the first book that I read, other than those two, is called Harmony. This is by Addison Jane. This is an MC romance because apparently it was an MC week for me. So this is about Harmony. She is a club girl. She's a club whore, for lack of a better term. That's what she refers to herself as. She sleeps with the brothers in the MC, and they pay for her to go to college, and that is what she does. And she is fine with it. But there is a neighboring club that comes to visit, and the president of that club, Kit, he sees her, and he's like, nope, she's going to be mine. She is my old lady. She understands the way the club works. That one is mine. And he decides that she is going to be his. Now, there's other things that are happening behind the scenes, but that is essentially what it is. And he won't sleep with her right away. It's because he's like, you're more than this. You're more than this. So it was cute. It was 3.75 stars. It was good. I think I gave it 4 on Goodreads. I rounded it up, but it was good. I liked it. It was a great little palate cleanser. MC is kind of on the lower scale of crazy MC for MCs. So, yeah.
Look at you.
I know. So I actually found that one because when I was on YouTube, I found a book trailer for 9 minutes. And the person who had the book trailer had a book trailer for these ones too. And I was like, I've never heard of it. Let's try it. And so I did. And it was good. I read a few of them in the series this week. In this book too is really cool. I noticed that Addison Jane, the author, mentions Carrie Ann Cole's characters from Ashes and Embers. And she mentions the band Ashes and Embers because Harmony's mom is supposedly the publicist. And I told you to research that. Did you research that to find out why?
I did research that. So on Carrie Ann Cole's Facebook group page, that's a mouthful.
It is a mouthful. Yeah.
Somebody else mentioned that book in reading about Ashes and Embers and Storm in there. And Carrie Ann Cole said that she knows the author And she did ask if she could use those characters. And she mentions that another book by somebody else has their characters going to an Ashes and Embers concert, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that is cool. Well, that's good. At least she asked, right? Just
yes.
She just throw it in there. So, okay. All right. Do you want me to do another one of mine?
Why don't we just go back and forth, and then you'll just go to town. I'll take a nap. It'll be fantastic.
You're not taking a nap. You'll take notes.
Aye, Captain.
Add to read, or add to TBR. So, okay.
Okay, my timer went away. Okay, it's back. Okay, so my book was called If You Were Mine by Melanie Harlow. This is Claire and Theo. And I absolutely love this because it has the fake dating in it, but it has a twist. Claire is tired of going out on all these dates where they just aren't working out. She's just not clicking with anybody, or guys are just rude to her. And so she's just really frustrated, and she gets invited to a wedding of a coworker's, and she's just going to go by herself. But then she's like, oh, the dreaded singles table. I do not want to sit there. So one night, after a little bit of wine, she gets on Hotties for Hire website and decides to hire a boyfriend who's just going to go with her on this date. She thinks about backing out, but then she doesn't. And she just kind of lacks some self-confidence. And so she ends up at the restaurant or coffee shop, I think is where they agree to meet. And so she meets Theo. And Theo's really good looking, and there's like some chemistry between the two of them. And so he agrees that she will pay him the fee, and he'll go with her, and things kind of spring from there. And I loved it because it's just a different twist to the whole fake dating thing. And it was definitely a fantastic palate cleanser after that emotional roller coaster that we had. So solid 4 stars. Melanie Harlow sometimes can be a hit or miss for me. So I was glad that this was a good one that I liked.
Yeah. Cool. All right. I turned off my notifications, but my kids and my husband are having a conversation, and I'm getting the notifications. All I can see is my youngest is talking about her birthday, and it's in January. We're in July.
Yeah.
Okay, anyhow.
What do you want for your 45th birthday that's coming up?
In 2 years.
Okay, your turn. Ready?
You better be careful, because your birthday is like 2.5 months after mine.
Which just means that you'll always be my elder, so I will always respect you.
It just means that paybacks once again for whatever you do.
Okay.
Just so you know. All right, my next book.
I should probably start talking to your husband so we can get your 50th planned.
You're such a brat. It can be like our graduation party. It can be dual.
So you're going to wait a very long time before you have the party?
2.5 months. All right.
Can you do your book now, please?
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so the next book that I read is called Withering Hope. It's by Layla Hagen. This is a survival romance. This is about Amy and Tristan. Amy is flying to the Amazon. She's a lawyer, and she's marrying this guy who's really wealthy. And she had to go back home to do some stuff, but his family has this place in the Amazon, that they're in South America that they're going to be married at. They have an estate there, and so they're flying there. Tristan is the pilot, but he is also he drives her driver when he's not flying for the family. And they end up crashing. Something happens. They end up crashing in the middle of the Amazon in the jungle. And when they go to see, can they walk out? Because, the Amazon is thick. It is my husband spent some time in the Amazon. It's crazy thick out there. It is the rainy season. And so basically they're on a hill that is completely surrounded by water. And so they can't just walk out. And so this is their survival story. I gave it 4 stars. It was a great little palate cleanser. It wasn't as intense as some of the other ones that I've read before. It was good. It was enjoyable.
You're really on point today.
Oh, good. I'm just...
So it is really coincidental that you just talked about Ashes and Embers because I finished the Ashes and Embers series by reading the last book in that series called Asher. So I have now read all of Carrie Ann Cole's books, and I will not so patiently be waiting for hopefully August 23rd when her next book comes out. And fingers crossed that the books start coming a little bit faster.
Oh, good luck, honey.
Oh, I just love Carrie Ann Cole. She's like a favorite.
I know.
So let me tell you about Asher.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so my book is called Asher by Carrie Ann Cole. This is about Asher and Ember. If you've read the first 5 books, or you've read Torn or Tied, or even if you've read Don't Kiss the Bride, you have seen a little tiny bit of Asher throughout these books. He's in all of them. And so Asher Asher is just so wonderful. He is so loyal. He loves, and he has so much dedication. Ember, as we know, if you've read any of the other books, has been in a coma for 8 years. And this is finally the book where she wakes up. But she does not wake up having any clue who she is. And I tried really hard to put myself in her place. Like, if you wake up and all of a sudden there's this like overprotective guy who's like, I love you so much. I'm so glad you're here. I'm your husband, and this is our adult daughter. And oh, by the way, she's having a baby. Like, I can understand how incredibly crazy that must be. So this is their story. Like, she wakes up and she doesn't know him, but he has been completely devoted and completely in love with her this whole time. And so it was sad, like, because when Asher's like heart breaks a lot during this time. And I felt that for him. And there's times where Ember did some things that I was really disappointed in her. But again, I tried to like put myself in her place about what that must be like. And it has to be completely crazy, like, and everything. But I loved it. It was a 5-star read.
Because we're coming at it from the side where we're like, yeah, we love for him to be waiting on the side of our bed going, I'm your husband.
Yeah.
But no. Because we've seen him throughout all these books. We've seen that.
And I am really glad that people finally started calling Sydney a bitch. Like, she drove me nuts in Tor's book. I did not care for her. So I'm glad that we're finally calling her out on her BS.
Awesome.
Okay. So if you've never read anything by Carrie Ann Cole, you're missing out. Go do it now. Drop everything.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right. So then I continued on with the Club Girl series by Addison Jane. So I read number 2. This is Chelsea. This is Chelsea's book. So Chelsea, again, is the club. I hate saying club whore, but that's what they call themselves. I feel like I'm saying something so wrong when I say that, but that's what they call themselves. And so, her job's to sleep with the boys in the MC, and they're putting her through college as well. But she and the president, Optimus, have had a thing, and he's very protective over her. And so you can just see the writing on the wall. There's something going on there. But we see that Optimus has an ex and a little baby girl. And he's never told Chelsea, and something happens where they have to, close in ranks, and they have to shut down the compound, or they have to, bring everybody in and lock them up in the compound. And here comes the baby mama, bringing the baby mama drama. And so that is what this one's about. These are fun, quick. They were fairly quick reads. So it was 3.5, 4 stars.
You are on point today with your 1-minute Rex. You must have practiced all the way home from camping.
I did not practice all the way.
Your husband time you.
Yeah. That's what I did.
I have to get this right. Okay, so I just want to make sure I understood this right. She sleeps with everybody, and in turn, they pay for her to go to college.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, she not just sleeps them, right? Like they do their laundry. They basically, they cook, they clean. They're basically their wives. They just have to put out a lot more, apparently. with a lot more guys, I should say. They put out a lot more guys.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I just saw what you rated a book, and you and I are gonna have to talk about that too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
You do? Okay.
Today?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It'll
Just
come up.
popped up in my Goodreads feed. I'm disappointed in you. Just kidding.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of disappointed.
Oh no.
That's kind of how I ended my week.
Okay.
So I read Good Enough by Kelly Elliott, and this is Meet Me in Montana #3. I read the first 2 in the book in the series, and they were solid 4-star reads. This one I rated a 3 because I got bored. I was bored a lot. So this is about Timberland, and she just has abandonment issues. Her mom died, which is very tragic when she was little. And so her dad just became very closed off and ignored her. Her dad was wealthy, so she didn't go without anything other than like love and affection, that sort of thing. She wasn't abused. Her dad just basically forgot about her most of the time. Tanner is one of the Shaw brothers. He's just kind of at this crossroads where he's ready to give up roping. But he's wanting to settle down, and he just kind of has this like insta attraction to Timberland, who whines a lot about how her dad didn't pay attention to her and how she doesn't want like a relationship. And I just like, I have no problem with heroines who've had crappy lives or, you know, like any of that. It was just the way this was written. I got bored and I found her to be rather whiny at times. And I don't know. I liked the other 2 books, so I don't understand why this one I just was bored.
Sometimes they just don't.
Yeah, I'm still going to finish the series because I really like the writing's great. Like there's no issues with the writing. I just didn't care for these characters. That's, I think, the main part.
Yeah, and that happens sometimes. Okay, I'm ready for my next one.
Okay, I'm done. I'm out.
Sorry, I'm not.
Okay, ready?
Yes. So the next book I read was the 3rd book in this whole Club Girl series. It is the last one I read in this Club Girl series, even though there's more, but right now this is the last one. This one is Hadley. This is about Leo and Hadley. Leo is a widower. His wife died while giving birth to his little girl, and so he has a toddler, little baby girl at home, or at the club, actually. Everybody at the club has helped take care of this little girl. And Hadley, who is on the run from her corrupt DEA husband. So there you go. I mean, that's enough, right? That's enough. Again, the 4 stars. They were good. They were good for what they were. My next one is a reread. But you talked about this series the other day. So my next one is a reread. This is Bountiful by Serena Bowen. This is one of my favorite books by Serena Bowen because this combines her True North series and her Brooklyn Bruiser series. So this is about Zahara and Dave. So Zahara is from the True North series, and Dave is one of our Brooklyn Bruisers. And they meet one summer when Zahara is bartending, and they don't exchange last names, they don't give information, but they meet up a few different times that summer. He'll come by the bar, and they have a good time, and that's kind of the end of it. Well, 2 years later, he shows up back in Vermont. All the guys are there to rent a house, and he runs into Zahara, and he finds his little redheaded 15-month-old daughter with her. She had no way of finding him. So this is their story and how they make all that work. I loved this. This was one of my very first secret baby books, romances I'd ever read. The audio is done by Teddy Hamilton, so it's yummy. And he's redhead, by the way, if you didn't figure that out. That's why that's his kid. So
the timer,
there it goes,
going off, but it was very delayed.
Yeah, so you talked about the True North series the other day. So this is my favorite in that series. Then I read something very weird. So I read Broken Chains, and this is by Demelza Carlton. Okay, so this one is about Katina. She's a librarian, and Tor. He's a stone gargoyle protector dude that is assigned to her and shows up when she's in danger. And she doesn't understand where he comes from. But then she talks about him having wings, but he must be human colored. I never got him being gray because she parades him outside. But during the day, he hides in the walls of her house. It was a little different It was a little odd. I gave it 2 stars. Yay! Next. I try to find different things, and sometimes they're wins, and sometimes they're stone gargoyle weirdos. Didn't work for me. Oh, I can hear my family. My family is very loud. Can you hear my family?
No.
They're being very loud. Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. So then I jumped on the Catherine Cowles train, and I read Beautifully Broken Pieces by Catherine Cowles. So this is about Taylor. She's dealing with the loss of her mother, and so she moves from, so she's originally from LA, then she went to Texas to help take care of her mother while she was sick and dying, and then her friends take her to Oregon to Sutter Lake. This is the Sutter Lake series, for a vacation after her mom dies, and she decides to stay there. And that is where she meets Walker, who is our, he's not quite the chief of police, he's like the assistant, he's almost the chief of police, he's a cop. Girls have gone missing. Walker's girlfriend died before he could ever propose to her when they were younger. Things are happening. She's a runner and a hiker, and she shouldn't be out there running and hiking alone, but of course she does, because she's dumb, and that's what you do in the wilderness in Oregon. It was great, though. It was 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a great little palate cleanser.
Okay.
Why do you go running in the wilderness by yourself?
People do that a lot.
Yeah, well, and she's like, I got bear spray. I'm like,
oh, I have bear spray too, and bear bells. I really want to see a moose.
No. I hope from the comfort of a house.
No.
Or a vehicle.
Why do you think I keep going to these places? I went to Alaska, I went to Denali, I went to Glacier National Park. Nowhere has a moose because they don't exist.
They're at the zoo in Anchorage. By the way,
I went to the zoo in Anchorage, and guess what I didn't see?
Well, because they were probably sleeping.
These are things Alaskans say because it's a tourism scam.
Wildlife Refuge in Hope. You didn't drive through there and see them either?
Where?
In Hope.
No.
That's down off the inlet, down past Alaska. Okay, listen. You do not mess with moose. They are more dangerous than bear. So great, wonderful, see them from the comfort of your home.
But they don't exist, so I have nothing to worry about.
But they will kill you faster than a bear. So let's not mess with the moose.
Yeah, when we were in Anchorage, they told us about this guy that got mauled by a moose on the walking trail. And so we went to said walking trail. Still no moose.
Really? Every year there's several people that are they get up on their hind legs and they kick at you. That's how they kill you. No moose, Mandy, no moose. Gosh dang it. If I taught you nothing.
I just want to see a moose, okay?
I've got pictures of moose looking in the hospital room when I gave birth to my first child. Is that enough for you?
It's probably all AI.
We didn't even have AI back then like that.
You've altered your photos. Okay, it's all part of the Alaskan tourism scam that Montana has now embraced.
Nice. All right. Okay. Next. Okay. So the next book I read is Beautifully Broken Life by Catherine Cowles. I actually like this one a little bit more. So this is about Tessa and Liam. So Tessa is back in Sutter Lake. This is the second book in the Sutter Lake series. She is running from an abusive fiance who, beat her all the time. And so she disguised herself and she got away with the help of a friend. And she's been living there for 2 years now. And then you have Liam. He is a rock star, but he has lost his mojo and he is friends with our heroine from the first book. And so he's come to the Sutter Lake area to kind of get his mojo back and start writing again because he needs to get another album out. But there's just something about Tessa. She's very quiet and demure and she keeps to herself. But there's something about her that brings his mojo back to him. And so this is their story. Tessa's definitely very closed off and scared and very skittish because she's waiting for this person to find her, basically, what's happening because he's very connected. So I love this. I gave it 4 stars. It was really good.
I wanted to show you something.
Do you have that one? Are those the ones you got from Catherine when we were there?
Oh, I can't find what I wanted to show you.
Because I went through all my Catherine Cowles books, but that's not one that I
have. I have Whispers of You.
Yeah, that's all I have is Whispers of You.
Her
line was long.
I have this cup from her and I can't find it now, but it says something about like romance with a good murder mystery or something like that, or killers. I can't remember.
All of hers. I would never want to live in a town that she's made up because wow, it's scary.
Yeah.
Okay, ready for my last book of the week?
Ooh, we're on to the last book already?
We're on to the last
This is just flying by.
Telling you.
It's a good thing because my phone's about to die.
Okay, good.
But I'm using the timer. Okay, ready?
All right. So this last one I read is Merrick by S. Nelson. This is one of Mandy's books that she really liked. This is an MC romance. So this is about Merrick and Sully. So Sully's a part of a different MC. Merrick is the president of, what do they call this one? Knights Corruption. And Sully is a part of another one that they're at war against. When she was young, she was abused by her father. Then at the age of 14, she was given to a rival, or not a rival, she was given to a member of the MC to do with as he pleased. So she has been abused and used for years. She's roughly 20 years old now. And as part of retaliation, Merrick takes her. They break down the doors one day and they storm the castle and he takes her. And then a day or so later, he forces her to marry him. Because really, that's like the ultimate thing to do, like the bad thing to do is to take somebody from another MC and then to integrate them into your MC. And so this is their story. So poor Sully has been through the ringer. Merrick, on the other hand, has a temper he needs to get under control. And he uses it from time to time. I gave it 4 stars. I liked it. It's hard reading an MC story like that, though, coming off of 9 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, I definitely think you needed some space in there. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I love that whole series.
I definitely want to move on into the next one. Like I'm ready to move on to continue on with the series. I just felt like that I couldn't give it 5 stars because of a couple things that we can talk about later because they're spoilery. But it was just one of those like move along. Yeah. Merrick does something that doesn't get addressed after they're married. That really got me.
Ooh. Okay, you're gonna have to tell me what that is.
Yeah. So okay. All right, guys. So that is all that we have for you this week.
Make sure to check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.